Hey, welcome to the male reproductive system. The kids are leaving tonight. I don't think they want to hear what I'm covering. Uh, anyway, bye guys. Start with the male reproductive system. Of course, the most obvious structure on the male reproductive system is the penis. With regards to the penis, what is its function? The function of the penis, of course, has multiple functions in the male. We talked about the urethra in the last video on the urinary system. So it functions to help eliminate urine from the body. But its reproductive function is basically for penetration of the female's vagina and the delivery of sperm into the vaginal canal near the cervix so that we can have successful fertilization. Now, penises, as my daughter pointed out before she left, come in a variety of sizes. All humans are different, and so on average, usually somewhere between about 5 and 7 inches when erect. But again, there's all kinds of exceptions to that. The penis has 3 chambers or tissues that we call erectile tissues. And these erectile tissues, if you look, kind of form a triangular shape to the penis. The 2 top erectile tissues are referred to as the corpora cavernosa, and the bottom one here is referred to as the corpora spongiosum. And it is these 3 erectile tissues that become engorged with blood as the penile artery feeds blood in or pumps blood into the penis. These areas become engorged or filled with blood, causing the penis to go from a flaccid state to an erect state for the preparation of intercourse. Now, in fact, when we get to the female, we're going to talk about the homologous structures and similarities and functions. But in the female, the clitoris basically is a vestigial penis. It only has, if you do a cross section of the clitoris, it only has the upper 2 erectile tissues called the corpora cavernosa. But the clitoris becomes erect when sexually stimulated or sexually excited in females, just like the penis. Then it sticks out from what we used to call the labial hood. Now we correctly call it the prepuce, same as the prepuce on the penis. Now, this of course allows the clitoris to be more exposed for proper stimulation for intercourse for sexual pleasure in the female. Now, the prepuce in the male and even in the female that we just mentioned, but this is the skin that covers the very tip or the end of the penis. In males, we tend to refer to that commonly as the foreskin. Of course, there's lots of cultural and religious differences in humans, and so there is variance in this also. It goes back to ancient Ur with the Hebrews leaving Ur. When Abraham made a covenant with God that he would worship only one God, and in showing his devotion, he would cut the foreskin from his male children. Again, not being a religious person, I feel this practice has its limitations. And so I'd like you guys to know some of the pros and cons. And I'll try to approach it from my biased attitude of not circumcising. And I'll try to play the devil's advocate and look at the other view. But really, if you're doing it for religious views, and you as a parent should get to choose this, I believe you can choose whatever you want with your religious freedoms. So if you're a religious person and you feel like this is how you need to show your devotion to God, cut away. But if you don't really agree with that, then you may hear the argument, for hygiene purposes, it's very important that we remove this. Usually it doesn't become an issue until the male gets to a fairly elderly age and then cannot properly clean themselves anymore. When they become dependent on healthcare professionals, which a lot of times are young females, this is a very awkward situation for cleaning the elderly patient's penis because it requires fairly intimate contact with the person. First, you must grab the penis and slide back the foreskin, exposing the tip of the penis, what we call the glans. The glans is the tip or the end of the penis. It has around it an elevated region that we call the corona or the crown, which is one of the most neurologically sensitive areas in the male's anatomy. Friendly advice there if you want to know more about the glands and the corona of the penis. But back to hygiene on removal of the prepuce from the male. I would argue against that. Just because it's difficult to clean and requires a little bit of effort on the person's part, I don't see cutting stuff off for that reason. Now, I have heard horror stories of people that have gotten too much of the sebum buildup, which is a kind of a waxy material that can build up in that region if not cleaned properly. But a little warm water and soap, and it's easily removed by pulling the foreskin back and exposing this area and rinsing it away. Now, I say my argument there is, well, hey, for my children, my son, he don't clean his damn ears very well. But I'm not going to consider cutting his ears off as a baby just so that he is better able to maintain hygiene. So for that excuse, I really am biased against from that aspect. Teach your children properly, your male children, how to properly clean themselves, and then special training may be required in dealing with geriatric patients with cleaning the males. But anyway, back to this. There are several regions to the penis. The penis that we see exposed are made up of two parts, and that one part is the shaft, which is self-evident, which is the structure going down to the corona region of the glands. So between these two, this is the external portion of the penis, and including the prepuce if it hasn't been removed from the male. Now there's two internal regions to the penis that we don't see unless we look internally inside the body, and that is the bulb and the root. And it's these internal portions of the penis that help anchor the penis when it does become erect. And you can see the penis physically goes inside the body at this point. You can see the epidermis here of the skin, the subcutaneous fat covering the pubic bone. But that would be the visible part of the penis from here down. But inside, we still have the erectile tissues go in deeper into these tissues. And so the bulb kind of comes out and then flares. And this really forms a pretty good anchorage point for the penis. So the two internal parts, you would never see it on the external portion here of, say, the model of the male. Next, one of the most obvious parts, besides the penis in the male, would be the scrotum and the testicles. Now, the scrotum and the testicles, the scrotum is the sac that contains the testicles, and it's this tough structure of epidermis, of muscle, of connective tissue with its collagen fibers that really houses and protects the testicles very well. Now, one of the issues that males have is we have to have our sex cell, or our structures that produce our sex cells, like the testes, be a slightly cooler temperature than body temperature. They like a couple degrees cooler than normal core body temperature. So besides housing and protecting these testicles, the other thing, the scrotum is also going to be very important in functioning with regards to temperature regulation. We can have muscles that contract and wrinkle up the scrotum, bringing the testicles very close to the pelvic wall. There's even another muscle that goes up the spermatic cord, which contains the testicular artery, the pampiniform plexus, the ductus deferens, all those structures, and it will pull the testicle within the scrotum on up so that it really comes close to the body wall to maintain this temperature for proper sperm development. Sperm don't properly develop when too warm. And so at normal body temperature, a lot of times too tight of underwear, stuff like that, anything that's going to really cause a really scalding hot showers daily can actually affect a male's fertility. So, very important function of the scrotum. It's not just a sac hanging there. It has some very important functions there. I think my time's up. I'll start the video right after this.